You know, deep inside the digital vaults that hold our entire financial system together, there's a silent heist happening right now, and it's a threat you can't even see, powered by computers that aren't even fully built yet. So today, we're going to dig into this quantum threat and look at the brand new frontier of digital defense designed to stop it cold. So let's start with a really important question. Is your financial data, your bank account, your savings, actually safe from the computers of tomorrow? And look, this isn't just a question for the big banks or for governments. It's for every single one of us. The security that protects, well, pretty much everything we do online is built on a foundation that's about to crack. The real question is, can we build the new one before the old one just falls apart? Okay, so this gets us to a really crucial idea, something called Harvest Now, Decrypt Later. Now, this isn't your typical smash-and-grab data breach. What attackers are doing is quietly siphoning off huge, massive amounts of encrypted data. We're talking financial records, government secrets, you name it. And they're not doing it because they can read it today. Nope. They're betting on a future where they can. And that's really the heart of the problem, right? It's like a thief stealing a locked diary today, knowing they're going to be handed the master key in, say, 10 years. The data is secure for now. It's all locked up with today's best encryption. But the thief? They're patient. They're just stockpiling these digital diaries, waiting for that one universal master key. And that key, well, that's the quantum computer. All right, so let's talk about that master key, the coming quantum threat. This isn't science fiction anymore, folks. We're talking about a technological turning point that is going to completely rewrite the rules of digital security. And trust me, the clock is ticking way faster than you might think. So what you're seeing here is the fundamental problem, the mismatch at the heart of all this. On one side, you've got today's encryption, things like RSA and ECDSA that protect basically everything online. They're built on math problems that are just incredibly hard for our current computers to solve. But on the other side, you've got quantum computers. These are machines literally designed to solve exactly these kinds of problems, and they can do it with terrifying speed. To them, our digital locks, they're just simple puzzles. And this is where it gets really urgent. I mean, this isn't some far-off hypothetical thing. Just look at these dates. By September 2026, that's right around the corner, major regulations in the EU are already demanding a plan for this quantum-safe transition. And by the early 2030s, that's when we could hit the breaking point, the moment all that data that's being harvested right now can finally be unlocked. That clock is ticking, and it's getting louder. Okay, so now let's compare those deadlines to the reality on the ground. On average, it takes a large bank 3 to 5 years, sometimes even longer, to manually find and replace all of its cryptographic systems. So when you put those two timelines side by side, yeah, you start to see the massive scale of this challenge. A manual approach? It's just too slow. No way it'll work in time.
So, if doing it by hand is off the table, how in the world do you tackle a problem this huge? Well, the solution starts with one thing: visibility. You have to be able to see everything. You need a map of your entire cryptographic landscape, kind of like mapping out the crypto DNA of your whole organization. And this is where the idea of a cryptographic bill of materials comes into play.
And it all boils down to this simple but powerful truth. You can't protect what you can't see. I mean, think about it. Most big organizations, especially banks, are running on decades of code piled on top of more code. They often have no idea where all their cryptographic locks are, what kind they are, or how they're being used. Without that visibility, trying to upgrade is just, well, it's like taking a shot in the dark. And that's where the cryptographic bill of materials, or CBOM, comes in. Just think of it like a super detailed, totally automated inventory. It scans everything, your source code, your applications, your entire infrastructure, and it creates this machine-readable list of every single piece of cryptography your organization relies on. It is the absolute essential first step to getting a handle on this problem. And this is why having a CBOM is such a game changer. See, once you have that inventory, you can do so much more than just see what you've got. You can analyze your whole system for weak spots, you can strategically manage the migration to new quantum-safe standards, and you can even automate your reporting to prove you're compliant with all those complex regulations. It basically turns total chaos into a manageable, strategic process. Okay, so we've talked about the concept of a CBOM, right? But what does a platform that actually does this look like in the real world? Let's take a peek under the hood at the architecture of a platform designed for this exact challenge.
The whole approach is broken down into 3 pretty elegant layers. First, it scans everything to build that critical inventory, that CBOM we just talked about.
Now, the second layer, this is the real game changer. It can actually intercept old, vulnerable crypto calls as they happen and upgrade them to new, quantum-safe ones in real time. And the best part? It does this without changing a single line of your application code. Zero. Finally, the third layer gives you a central command center to enforce security policies and make sure you're compliant across the entire organization.
So what are the results of this automated layered approach? Well, they're pretty staggering. We're talking about potential cost savings of up to 85% compared to trying to do this whole thing manually. 85%. That's the difference between an impossibly expensive project and a realistic strategic upgrade. This isn't just about tech, it's about the bottom line.
And it's not just about the money, it's about speed. Remember that 3 to 5 year timeline for a manual migration we talked about? Well, an automated platform like this can be deployed and start giving you that critical visibility in just 2 to 3 weeks. That's the kind of speed and agility you absolutely need when you're racing against the quantum clock.
You know, for any company in the financial sector, compliance isn't just a suggestion, it's everything. What you're seeing here is how a platform like this is built from the ground up to meet a whole suite of the toughest global standards. From EIDAS in the EU to the new post-quantum standards from NIST in the US. It basically takes this incredibly complex web of regulations and turns it into a single, manageable checklist.
All right, so let's pull back for a second and look at the big picture. This isn't just about some new piece of software for banks. This is about protecting the trust and the stability of the entire digital financial world that, let's be honest, all of us depend on every single day.
So let's just quickly recap the main takeaways here.
First, the quantum threat, it's not science fiction anymore. It's a real near-term risk. Second, those harvest now, decrypt later attacks mean the danger is already here today. Third, visibility is absolutely the first step. You have to have that cryptographic inventory, that CBOM. And finally, automated tools are what make this quantum migration actually manageable and cost-effective, ensuring the future stability of our financial systems.
So here's the bottom line. We have the technology right now to make the leap to quantum-safe security. We have a path that's faster, cheaper, and more complete than ever before. But that clock, it's still ticking. The challenge isn't about the technology anymore. It's about will. So the real question is, are the institutions we trust with our financial world moving fast enough to be ready for what's coming?